Right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to take their brands to the next level. I am your host, Junior Frederick, and I have with me the man himself, Mr. Bobby Stealth. And today is Winning Wednesday. Guys, it's all about the winning energy. Go ahead, put your flames in the comments if you feel absolutely amazing, and let us know where you're listening in from. Bobby, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, doing great, Junior. You're absolutely phenomenal this Wednesday. This week is flying by, man. It's really flying. And I was just waking up this morning, body extremely sore. I'm loving this new workout routine thing that I got going on. It's like, you all know how when you try something new, it's really tough and like you start getting all of these massive results. And then when you get to doing it a lot, you plateau. So I plateaued for a little while, but I'm doing something different now and my body is feeling it. So that's always exciting. And that's kind of where my energy is coming from this morning. It's coming from doing new things that are hard every day. Challenging things in your business, in your spiritual life, in your marriage, like tough conversations, so to speak, in marriage, tough tasks in business, figuring out a new technology. It's like just really pushing yourself. I watched something yesterday that I thought was really interesting. Two things. One thing said, if you always try your best, you never lose. I thought that was interesting because it actually it said it this way. It said, if you do your best every time, you never lose. If you try your best, losing is a possibility. That's what it was saying. It's like if you do your best every time, then winning is the default response or the default outcome. But if you try your best, like if you give your best effort, but you don't do your best, then trying your best really isn't getting the job done. So I thought that was really cool. And it really made me think about my best effort. Am I trying my best or am I doing my best? Those are two different things. So I'm feeling really, really good. I was in the gym and I did my best. And I'm excited about today's conversation. How about you? How you?
100%. I feel good. I feel good. Today I'm just trusting the process today. I'm just trusting the process today. I have a couple things lined up. Ready to go. I have a full day. But at the same time, I did leave a little bit of leeway for something unexpected and excited to happen. I think that's very important, right? Let me tell you, Bobby, and guys, put it in the chat. I'm sure you can relate. Life be lifing, right? Life be lifing. And let me tell you, the more you live on this spinning ball
Hmm.
in the Milky Way galaxy, the spinning ball that we call Earth, you get to realize that every single day, you know, man makes plans and God just laughs. So
Yeah.
it's it's one of those days, man. But I'm doing good. I have plans that I've set out for today. Um, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what the day brings, honestly. Just looking forward. I'm sort of in that zone where you're sort of in the middle of the matrix, like in between those green lines, where you sort of see everything in slow motion. That's sort of where I am right now. So I'm like, okay, I'm very open. So let's see what the day brings. But just like you, Bobby, I'm striving to do my absolute best and just do things in the right way. That's very important. You could do the wrong things in the right way and you still get the result. But you could also absolutely do the right things in the wrong way and not get the result. So
Mhm.
just wanted to say that. But I want to send a quick shout out to Dr. Michelle, also Bradley from Texas. Dr. Michelle is in Detroit. So shout out to you. Guys, we're
Yeah.
going to be getting into a topic for today, which is taking responsibility for your success. Of course, if you have any questions, this show is live. So please go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I promise you we'll be getting to them. Shout out to Tia. So Tia's coming in from Jersey, New Jersey. Shout out to her. Shout out to New York. And let's get into it, Bobby. I think we're going to go right into that topic, taking responsibility for your success. Number one, what does that even mean? Bobby, something you said a very long time ago. So Bobby, we had an episode some time ago, and Bobby said, "Well, what is responsibility?" And then you define responsibility as one's ability to respond. I never forgot that. So responsibility is the ability to respond. So how are you taking responsibility for your success? Listen, something that I learn and I keep being reminded of every single day is that if you're a leader, if you're any kind of leader, then everything falls on you. You know, there's a great book that happens to be to the right of me right now. It's literally I'm looking at it right now as I speak, called Extreme Ownership. Extreme ownership means that you take ownership for everything. Everything is your fault. So the lack of success is also your fault. But the great thing is your success is also your fault.
Yeah.
Your success will be your fault, but hey, your lack of success is also your fault. So taking responsibility for your success means to me doing whatever is necessary to win. That's what it's about at the end of the day. Nobody is playing to lose. If you're playing to lose, then you're just playing for the wrong reason. You know, so taking responsibility for success to me starts with an extreme ownership mindset, meaning that success is mine. So that's number one. You can start writing this down. So let's do it. Let's do a quick number. I don't know, one to maybe 1 to 5. So 1 to 5, number one, key to success is number one, taking responsibility or taking extreme ownership for that success, meaning that the success is yours. Success belongs to you. So what are you going to do? Everything is your fault. Whether you make it, it's your fault. Whether you don't make it, it's also your fault. So that's number one. Number two, in sales, we say that we assume the close. In business, we assume success. So you have to assume that you're already successful. And now you're sort of just doing what's necessary to make that happen. So do you assume success, when you come into a challenge, when you come into a situation where you're after something, where you're moving towards a particular goal? Do you assume success? I assume success, Bobby. I just assume I'm successful. If I'm heading into a sales conversation, I assume that the deal is already done. If I'm, going to have a conversation with somebody, I assume that I already got what I want. I make the assumption, okay? And then I do number three, which is conscious action. So, what is the conscious action that you're taking to guarantee your success? Now, this is a great segue. There's a phenomenal book that everybody should read for business and for life. It's called The Art of War. Okay. So, how many of you have read The Art of War? Put a number one in the chat if you've read The Art of War. And if you've not read The Art of War, that's probably something you should get. Okay. So, one of my favorite sayings from The Art of War, Bobby, is when the author says, the only way to guarantee your victory is to ensure that you could never be defeated. I read that like 10 years ago and I never forgot it. The only way to guarantee your victory is to ensure that you cannot be defeated. Another smart guy, and this is from the finance world. You might know this, Bobby. I'm not sure if it's Buffett that said it or if it's Dalio that said it. But if you protect the downside, the upside will take care of itself. If you protect the downside, the upside will take care of itself. How can you ensure that you cannot be defeated? Like defeat is impossible. If you take care of the downside, the upside will take care of itself. Now, I want to bring it all the way around. So I mentioned the art of war. Now I want to talk about the war of art. By the way, that's another book. The Art of War is one book. The War of Art is another book. And in the War of Art, there's a concept called the unlived life.
Mm.
The unlived life, Bobby. What is the unlived life? The unlived life is the life right now, the version of reality right now that you are not living because of fear. Mm. So put it in the chat. What are some experiences that you could have had that you should be having right now that you're not having because you've allowed fear to infect your mind. You've allowed fear to make the decisions. You've allowed fear to steer your direction. And now you're stuck with an unlived life. So those are my top five. Those are my top five. I want to just put that out there. But Bobby, I'm going to turn it over to you. What are your thoughts when it comes to taking responsibility for success?
You were going so fast, Junior. I only got two. I was writing so many notes. I was writing books down and quotes down. So can you give me three, four, and five again
Oh
for you?
boy, Bobby, I'm coming from the top of my mind. I'm coming from the top
Okay.
of my mind. I'll tell you what I remember. Because you know I'm very organic. I'm very organic like that, guys. So, guys, in fact, put it in the chat. How many of you remember three, four, and five? So, number five was definitely the unlived life. Okay, number five was the unlived life. So, Bobby, what that means is that you know, battling fear, going to war with fear head on, so that you can tap into the unlived life, which is in the war of art. Number four Number four, I give a quotation from The Art of War. So, in The Art of War, the author says, in fact, the only way to guarantee your success is to ensure that you cannot be defeated. In economic terms, if you protect the downside, the upside will take care of itself. Okay, so how are you ensuring that you cannot be defeated? What systems have you put in place to ensure that you protect the downside? So I'll give you a simple one. If you're the kind now, Bobby, back in the day, man, let me tell you, ice cream used to be my absolute favorite food. Favorite food in the world. Okay? That was just me. In fact, there was one, I'll give you a quick story. There was one very special treat. So way back in the day, maybe like 15, 20 years ago, 27 years ago, right? I could remember my parents taking me to the supermarket, you know, just regular grocery shopping. And there used to be something. Every time we go to the fridge section, there was something there that I used to it was like heaven in a cup. It was literally it was heaven in a cup. It was a cake, but it wasn't a cake. It was ice cream, but it wasn't ice cream. It was cheesecake, but it wasn't cheesecake. I don't know what it was. I don't know the name. I don't know what they call it. I don't know where they make it. I just knew it was like heaven in a cup. And I had to have that every single time. Now, that disappeared for some time now. It disappeared and it resurfaced after like 20 years. 20 years, it was my birthday, and I went to a restaurant. And while I was looking at the menu, I was looking at the dessert menu, and there was something on the menu. What was the name of it? I don't even remember the name right now. That was maybe like 5 years ago. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
"What's that?" Oh, fuck, here it is. It was tiramisu. So I said,
Ah,
"What's that?" Tiramisu was that? She said, then the waitress said it's like a coffee cake sort of type thing. I said, okay. I said, let me just try it. Let me just see what that is. When she brought it out, I said, that's the thing. That's the thing from so many years ago. It
yeah.
had been like 15, almost 15 years since I had it. And I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but after like 15 years, I was reunited with that thing, and that was absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite treats, by the way. Tiramisu, if you know what that is. That's like a Japanese, it's like a Japanese cheesecake, basically, but better. Okay, so, but anyways, I was saying that if you protect the downside, the upside will take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then number three, I don't remember exactly what I said for number three. But who remembers number three? Put it in the chat. Who remembers number three? So you should have one, two. Number three will come back to me, but you should have four and you should have five as well.
Yep, I sure did. So that was that was a great breakdown of one, the definition of responsibility, and I got that definition from
Oh, there you go.
the seven habits, the seven habits of highly effective people.
That's number three, Bobby, right there. See, Bradley. Bradley's a phenomenal student. Bradley wrote it down. Conscious action. Yep.
So I've got all five. Thank you guys. Teamwork, right? So when it comes to success, the best definition that I've heard of success is from Earl Nightingale. And his definition of success is the continuous pursuit of a worthy goal. The individual that sets a goal and determines that goal to be worthy and pursues it every day is a success, as far as Earl Nightingale is concerned. So he used the example of a housewife, a mother, someone who takes care of the kids, and that's what she's chosen to do. Like her dream was to bring life into this world, give them a experience in this life that is unlike anything that they could ever have imagined, educate them, raise them, and mother them. And that's what she wanted to do with her life. And every morning she woke up and read and studied on how to be a better mother. She got laundry done, she cooked, she cleaned, she took care of her husband, she took care of her children, she raised them effectively, and that was a goal for her. It was worthy to her. And she woke up every single day and got after it. And she was a success in the book of Earl Nightingale. And I would assume by her own standards, she was a success if her children, in fact, did turn out to be upstanding citizens and she did get all those things done. So when you put these two definitions together side by side, you get this interesting script, so to speak. If you were like a computer, like running a script, the script says simply your ability to respond d- during your continuous action toward a worthy goal. That's kind of what we're talking about. Your ability to respond continuously, effectively, as you pursue a worthy goal. So, what does this look like in business? When you take responsibility for your success, you're saying to yourself that I am going to get the best coaching, the best training, the best reading, the best community so that I can improve my ability to respond to any experience, outcome, or happenstance. And that's my responsibility. So you've taken responsibility at that point. And then you've connected that to whatever it is that you feel is success worthy for you. So if being the first millionaire in your family is success, or having a paid off mortgage, owning your cars and having 2 million in cash that you don't have to touch, or 2 million in liquid assets that you don't have to touch, like if that's the worthy goal, then responsibility for that success means putting yourself in the optimal position to achieve that goal by having the optimal ability to respond to whatever happens along the journey. Think about that. Many entrepreneurs don't make it, not because they don't have good ideas, in my experience. It's not even because they're not hardworking. It's because they don't have the ability to respond to life effectively enough as it's happening. And when I say respond to life, I mean something happens with the kids. What do most people do? They put their business down and they tend to their kids. Rightfully so, I get it. Okay, debt starts piling up. People saying they're going to take the house. What do most people do? They take their money out of the business, they pay down the house, and they keep their house. I get it. I get it. But what I'm saying is responsibility says I'm going to do both because I'm able to do both. I'm going to pay my mortgage and I'm going to pay the debt because I know how to make money and I know how to manage my resources. That's an ability to respond to debt and expenses simultaneously. Most people take an either or approach instead of a plus and. They say either I can run my business or I can pay for my college, my kids' college. Either I can build my business or I can stack my money and be secure. They have an either or mentality. And that's a lack of ability. That's a manifestation of a lack of ability. Or in other words, it's a narrowed locus of control. So responsibility and locus of control are almost synonymous. Your locus of control means how many things you actually can influence based on how many things you've taken ownership of. If you take ownership of something, you have all the power to change it because you own it. If you own, like extreme ownership, a situation, you have all the power to change that situation because you own the situation. Most people, however, don't own situations. They don't own outcomes. They don't own what happened to them. They don't have responsibility, or they rarely take responsibility. And here's the thing: take responsibility has been looked at as a negative thing. Like, oh, take some responsibility, take some responsibility. Really, that's the most positive thing anybody can do, is take responsibility. Because when you take responsibility, you actually take ownership. And when you take ownership, you expand your locus of control. And the wider your locus of control is, the more control you have over your own life. And most people just don't take the plus and approach. Plus and says, I'm going to go to college, plus get good grades and build a business. I'm going to be married, plus I'm going to have a happy marriage, and I'm going to raise my children well. I'm going to build a business, plus pay off my debts, and I'm going to grow as a human being. The plus and approach says I can do and will do and am capable of anything that I set my mind to as a goal. And that's what we call success. It is the continuous pursuit of a worthy goal. And responsibility connects to success when you say, I own this, and I take full responsibility for the outcomes and the inputs that I may expand my locus of control and get phenomenal results in my life, in my marketplace, and within my family. So when we come back from the break, guys, we're going to get deeper into what responsibility really looks like, what success can be in business, and how you can approach this in order to get phenomenal results.
I said Shaan Ride East. I'm proud. I said Shaan Ride East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Confidence is key. Most of the people I work with, they have the education, the experience, and the expertise. We call those the 3 E's. But they're looking for the 3 I's, the income, the impact, and the independence. And I always tell them that the bridge between the 3 E's and the 3 I's is marrying your confidence to your competence. Most of the people I work with, again, have all of the competence in the world. What I help them do is get the confidence.
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We're talking about taking responsibility for your success. All right, Bobby, let's get back into it, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna probably have Junior put on another clinic with these questions I'm gonna ask. But before I turn it over to the questions that I've got in mind, I want to connect a few more dots for everybody. You're here for a reason, okay? When I say you're here for a reason, I mean you're paying attention to what we're saying and why we're saying it because you are built different, right? Have you ever heard that? Built different. I'm built different. You are. Your education, experience, expertise, and resilience makes you different. Your desire to build generational wealth, have a legacy, take care of your family, like that makes you different. Like you might think that everybody has those desires because you have those desires so strongly. But the reality is a lot of people don't do what it takes to build generational wealth and legacy. Like they just don't. If they did, more people would have bigger legacies that expand the test of time. But it's like we know the people, the Henry Fords, the Andrew Carnegies, the Nelson Mandelas, the Obamas, and they are still living, the Ali's. Like we know them, and it's not a ton of them, but they're people like you and me that are willing to give it all to get it all. So I want to say this as I turn it over to some questions. If you're here right now and you're thinking about how you're going to take this thing to the next level, that link at the bottom of the screen is for you. 1000% is for you. Leadership Leverage Deep Dive at 5 is one of those calls that I came on to. It wasn't called that when I came on, but over almost 4 years ago, I saw a banner that looked something like that, and I registered. And when I registered and came onto the inside, guys, it was an experience that I had no idea I was going to like have. I remember Shaan saying, "The reason you're here is not why you're here." I was like, "Who is this guy? What's this man talking about?" And he would say it over and over again. And what I learned that meant several years later is that when you're going through your journey, what got you started isn't always what gets you through. It's not always what gets you through. So, like when you get started, you find out, like you may say, "Man, I want $1 million." And I think that'd be a really cool thing to have. And then you get going and you realize, like, money's just money. Like, I could have $1 million and never even see it. So now $1 million isn't even the goal anymore. So why you're here is not why you're here. Like, you're like, man, I just want time and freedom and all this stuff. And then you quit your job and you realize you're no longer working for a lunatic as a boss, but you're working for clients that can't be satisfied. And so now you're going from one stage to the next stage. And what you realize is that why you're here is not why you're here. So you get on the inside of these calls, like these leadership live deep dives at 5, and you start getting clarity. And that's what people want. They want to know what they're really doing. And then with clarity comes confidence. That's what they really want. They want to feel confident in what they're doing and their ability to do it effectively. And that's what brings it full circle to responsibility. So I'm about to ask Junior some questions here, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. If y'all see that link at the bottom, which you should, and you're like, I need more clarity, I need more confidence, I know I'm on the right path, but I'm stuck. Like, how do I get unstuck? That'll do it for you. It did it for me. Question for you, Junior. As you build a business and you build your competencies, your ability to respond to situations, what do you do personally when doubt creeps in? Because responsibility is interesting. It's you taking ownership and it's you taking responsibility, but what happens when you start to doubt yourself? When you start to doubt your ability? When you start to wonder if you can really pull this thing off? How do you navigate that? Because you took responsibility, you can't give it back now. You've expanded your locus of control. You can't contract it. So what do you do?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. Um, hmm, That's an interesting question, Bobby. I would say that I don't. Strangely enough, I've never asked myself that question. I don't have doubts like that. I don't know if I'm weird, but my mind often I lean on the I can do it side. I don't really have doubts. If I do have a doubt, it wouldn't the doubt is not in me. The doubt is what I like the situation. There's something that I don't know, or maybe there's a skill I don't have. But it's I wouldn't necessarily call that doubt. I would just call that just being conscious of what you can and cannot do. And in the circumstances where I cannot do something, I just find out what I need to do. I go, I learn it. If I don't know it, then I do what I need to do to learn. But I don't. Before I used to have doubts, but now I don't have any doubts about my ability, so to speak. I
Yeah,
just know that I have limits, and of course I don't know everything. But the things that I don't know, when I need it, then I'm pretty confident that I can learn it, and that's sort of my outlook on the world and on life. And I just do it. I just do it. So I don't allow doubt to creep in. That's not my thing. And you know what, guys? If you're writing right now, I want you to write this down. One of my mentors said to me, "You never give weakness a voice. Like you never give your weakness a voice. If you have doubt, let's just say you had a doubt, don't speak that doubt into existence. You never give that weakness a voice, because you know what, Bobby? As soon as you give the weakness a voice, it starts to expand.
hmm,
So if it's either you can do it or you can't. It's not about, oh, can I do it? Can I not? I think what was this guy from the Skywalker from the Star Wars? Remember what
yeah,
Yoda said? Yoda
yeah,
says, "Do or do not. There is no try. Like do either you can do it or you cannot do it." But I don't have any doubt. I know what I can do and I know what I cannot do. The things that I cannot do, I send it to somebody else to do, or I learn how to do it myself. So I don't have any doubts. I don't have any doubts. I
hey,
just
yeah. I want to
yeah,
put something out here for
they
the
give your
people.
weakness a voice.
So Junior's not weird, guys. He's not weird. But I want you to know something. He's around people that are a certain way. And because he's put himself in a position to be around these people for extended periods of time, he's become one of those people. So I'm very confident of this. And this is why I believe this, because when I joined the military and I joined the Marine Corps, I was not necessarily fearful, but I was not fearless. Junior is fearless, guys. That's what a lack of doubt is, in my experience. Doubt is nothing more than a manifestation of fear. When you doubt something, you're afraid that you won't be able to accomplish something or do something or have something. Like doubt is the opposite of faith, and faith is nothing more than a fearless belief. That's what faith is. It's fearless belief, and doubt is fearful belief. It's a belief that something could happen, but because you have allowed for fear to be attached to the belief, it creates doubt. It creates possibility. But fearless belief, that's faith. That's all it is. So when I joined the Marine Corps, I was um I was not fearful, but I wasn't fearless. And I got around people that were absolutely fearless. And let me tell you how I became fearless. It's a very simple process, by the way. I faced my fears every day. That's it. That's it. If you have doubts and you have confidence barriers and you have self-limiting beliefs, challenge yourself in those areas every day and they will go away. 1000%. They will go away. I guarantee it. If you are afraid of water, like I was, they called us iron ducks. So individuals that can't swim but are mean, lean fighting machines, you're like iron on land, but you just can't swim. So they say you're an iron duck because we're supposed to be amphibious war fighters in the Marine Corps. So I was an iron duck, absolutely hated the water. And in order for me to graduate United States Marine Corps boot camp, I had to swim X amount of meters. I had to take off my utilities and put them back on underwater. And I had to just do all of these different things. And here's the kicker. I only had 3 chances to get it right. I didn't have a week. I didn't have a month. There was no training. Like if you didn't know how to swim coming in, there was like, you got 3 chances, 1 week. It's 1 week, 3 chances. You can't figure it out in 1 week, 3 chances. You're out of here, buddy. And when I say out of here, I mean, they'll start you back over. Like, you don't get out. There's a whole month of training up until swim qual, and it's torture. It's terrible. And if you don't pass swim qual, back to the beginning. Try again. It's brutal. So during this process, I was learning to swim, and I was absolutely terrified, and I had to face my fears. And as I faced my fears, I had absolute faith in myself as I was around all of these other fearless people. Some people couldn't run. Some people didn't shoot very well. Some people like me couldn't swim well. Some people were fat-ish, like you had to be somewhat in shape just to qualify, but some people were a little fluffy, so they were getting hazed, they were getting tortured to get in shape. So as they're going through this, everybody had their downside, and you saw a whole bunch of people in an environment overcoming their fears, and everybody's fears were different. But what happened was the camaraderie of people suffering together, people growing together, people learning together is what produces a culture of fearless individuals. And I say all of that to say this. I believe that Junior might have come into a community at some point where he didn't know a lot of things, and a lot of other people didn't know a lot of things, and everybody was paying good money to be here, and they were working like crazy. They were failing like crazy. They were calling each other up, asking for help. They were giving each other insights on what they knew how to do. They were facing fears and paying money, losing money, making money, and it was a fiasco. But on the other side of that experience was an ironclad self-belief that no matter what comes my way, if I got a phone and a buddy, I can figure it out. And that's the Marine Corps mindset. No matter what comes my way, if I got a battle buddy and a rifle, we gonna make it through. No rifle, okay, great. Bayonet and hand-to-hand combat, I'm coming through. Okay, no bayonets, okay, great. A knee and a boot. I don't need much. Just give me enough. Just give me something. And when you have that mindset, your responsibility expands. So as I ask the next question to Junior, I just wanted to give you guys that, like, we're not special. Like, yeah, I'm a Marine. Joel did 30 years plus in the Army. Then you've got Junior that has been through tremendous training, but like, we're not special in the sense that we are, what we've done and what we do is outside of reach for you. You're probably more qualified than us, to be honest. Probably got more education, more degrees, more insights, more money, and in the outside of business side. Like, sure, we may have done more on the business side, but like, you might have made more money than us when you got started just from having a regular job. So I say that to say you probably have a really, really good head start. And if you just dive in, you're off to the races and you're going to do really, really well. So my next question for you, Junior, is based on how I want to ask this question strategically, because I know it's on a lot of people's mind. So put a 1 in the chat if you guys want to know how to expand your leadership, how to increase your responsibility. I'm trying to ask that question because I know it's on everybody's mind. I'm trying to ask that question uniquely, strategically. So my question for you, Junior, is if you are an individual, which I think we all have been at some point in our life, if you are an individual that is blaming people for something that is justified, you have every good reason to blame them. You have every good reason to say, this is your fault. It's almost like your buddy says, hey, I'm gonna have the rent. I got $500. I'll have it for you by tomorrow. You have your $500. your buddy is supposed to have his 500 and they don't. Like that's what happened. Like you have every justifiable reason to hold that person accountable and not take responsibility for that. But you also have the option to say, no problem. You couldn't cover yours, I got that too. If you're looking to expand your leadership into the space of maximum extreme ownership, do you think it is dangerous to take too much ownership? Like, is that possible? Because there's a fine line, my personal belief, between taking ownership for your actions and others and then taking so much ownership and accountability that other people don't grow. I'd love to hear about your perspective. Like, how much ownership should you take? Or do you take all the accountability and just watch them fail? Like, what do you do? How do you approach that?
I guess it would be based on who you're talking to. I'll give you a very simple metaphor. If you run a business, okay, if you run a business, which most of us do, and you have a team member that is technically subordinate to you, okay, as Mr. Smith would say, if a client has paid for something, it doesn't matter if it was the other team member handling it, it's still your fault. It's your responsibility. It may not be your fault, but it's still your responsibility. So if I'm talking to the client, no, I cannot, there's no way I can take too much responsibility. It is 100% my responsibility. Now, if I'm talking to the team member, I'm not taking all the responsibility. And let me tell you why. The reason why is because if you take all the responsibility, you refuse them the opportunity to grow. Does that make sense? So if I'm talking, let's say I have to do something that involves, let's say, writing emails, for example. I sold a package for writing emails. I'm the business owner, and the client got the emails. They were not happy with the emails. Okay, that's my responsibility. That's my fault that they were not happy with the emails. If I'm talking to them, if I'm talking to the person that wrote the emails, I'm saying, like, this is your fault. Like, why did you write the emails in that way? And I'm saying that to them so that they can grow. But if I'm talking to the business owner, the other business owner, I'm saying that it's my fault. I wouldn't put the team member in that line of fire, if that makes sense. So to answer your question, and by the way, that can be looked at like you giving the team member, putting the ball back in their court, can be also seen as you taking responsibility just as a leader, because you're helping the team member to grow. Okay. But on the client facing side, you take all the responsibility. Very simple. Very simple. Because at the same time, Bobby, if the team member performs phenomenal, you also get all the praise. The client doesn't know that it's this team member who wrote the email. They just know, okay, I paid Junior and I got some phenomenal emails. That's it. So you take all the praise, you take all the blame. That's the way it works. But to the team member, I think it's useful to hold them accountable, okay, so that they can grow themselves. But if I take all the responsibility and I don't give them the opportunity to grow, then that's good for nobody, essentially.
Yes. So as we close out, and I'm happy that you answered that question that way, because that's exactly what I was looking for. Is I wanted to create dynamic. I wanted to show the audience that's growing their leadership, that's expanding their locus of control, that are they're dealing with dual hats. Your wives, your husbands, your business owners and leaders, your fathers, your parents, your students. Like, you have so many different things that you have to take ownership of, responsibility over. And it's very interesting how you have to navigate as a leader in order to be the type of leader that is respected. So here's what I use as a hack. Here's my
One
hack.
second. One second, before you give us the hack, I want to read this because this is exactly what I was saying. So if you look at what Joel says, so Joel says delegation does not absolve the leader of responsibility. Instead, it involves the leader taking responsibility for the outcomes, there you go, of the delegated task. Also, accountability means that leaders are held answerable for the performance and action of their team. There you go. That's exactly what I was saying. This
Mhm.
includes the successes. So yeah, you get the praise, but you also get, if somebody fails, you also take the blame for the failure as well. Failures and ethical conduct. A leader must ensure that the team members understand their roles and the expectations placed upon them. So Joel said that. I mean, Joel is a leadership master.
Yeah,
Joel is a
yeah.
leadership master. Joel said that better than I could, but that's exactly what I was talking about right there.
He stole my thunder, Junior. You should have read it after I went. But no, that's exactly what we were alluding to, or exactly what my hack was going to be. The hack was very simply results are all that matter, and and it's our responsibility to take care of those results. So, with results being the main thing that everybody's looking for, that's the main thing that leaders are held accountable for. So, if you are a leader and you're scaling and you're growing your leadership, I want you to think about as you're balancing things and navigating things that what happens in the middle of the goal and the result are all your responsibility. It's all, you have a lot of flexibility in that area. However, what the outcome of the goal is ultimately what you're responsible for. And if you think about it that way, it gives you a lot of flexibility. It gives you a lot of areas to take ownership, but it also gives you the opportunity to give tasks, give space for growth, and give people an opportunity to grow themselves. But that's how I think about it. And that's the hack that I use, is that I'm responsible for the overall outcome. However, it is my responsibility to set the goal and to ensure that what happens in between the setting of the goal and the goal's outcome to drive results and improve performance. And that's what makes good leaders good, is their ability to manage the moving parts in such a way that desired outcomes are the results. So that's my hack.
100%.
All right.
100%. Guys, before we sort of go, Bobby, just want to give everybody a quick reminder. Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5. That's going to be this Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. By the way, any updates, you can expect any updates via email. Just sign up, go to the link below, register at that link. I'm going to keep it up for like a couple more minutes, maybe 2 more minutes, to give you the opportunity to register. By the way, it's 100% free of charge. So feel free to invite anybody from your network that is interested in branding, business development, coaching, sales, or anything that is related to those core skills. Have a phenomenal day. We will be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Speak soon. Let's grow.